What if I told you a Trump campaign spokesperson just got kicked off live TV in the middle of an interview by one of America's most powerful news anchors? This wasn't a technical glitch or a walk-off. This was a calculated cutoff, and the internet is exploding. Was she silenced for telling the truth, or was it all part of the plan? Let's break it down. It was supposed to be just another morning segment, a quick political interview to kick off the day. But what unfolded on live TV left viewers speechless and sent shockwaves across the country. Karoline Leavitt, the bold and unfiltered spokesperson for Donald Trump's 2024 campaign, appeared on Good Morning America for what was expected to be a routine conversation. The guest? A rising political firebrand. The host? Longtime ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos, a seasoned journalist known for his sharp questioning and, some argue, his political past. But instead of a calm discussion about campaign strategy or Trump's legal battles, the interview erupted into one of the most controversial media moments of the year. From the moment Leavitt appeared on screen, the tension was palpable. She didn't waste a second. Her very first remarks were a direct shot at ABC and the broader mainstream media, accusing them of spinning narratives and deliberately targeting Donald Trump. Her voice was calm, but her words were anything but. She then turned her focus directly on Stephanopoulos, challenging his credibility as a journalist. She referenced his former role as a senior advisor and White House communications director under President Bill Clinton, a connection that Trump supporters have long pointed to as evidence of media bias. How can the American people trust you to report on Donald Trump fairly, she asked, when your roots are planted deep in the Democratic Party? That's when things turned. Stephanopoulos, visibly irritated, tried to redirect the conversation toward Trump's ongoing legal issues. But Leavitt wasn't done. She repeatedly circled back to the media double standards and refused to let Stephanopoulos set the tone. What happened next stunned everyone. In the middle of their back and forth, the feeds suddenly cut off. No warning, no polite ending, just a sharp cut back to the studio hosts, who looked visibly confused and unprepared. Within minutes, news broke that Karoline Leavitt had been removed from the broadcast, kicked off live TV in real time. In a matter of seconds, a scheduled interview turned into a political flashpoint, 2:33, igniting fierce debates across the internet. Viewers weren't just watching the news, they were watching it unravel live. So what exactly triggered the chaos on live television? Trump supporters quickly rallied behind Leavitt. Prominent conservatives, influencers, and political commentators praised her for what they called standing up to media hypocrisy. Many described her removal as nothing short of censorship, claiming that her willingness to challenge the establishment got her kicked off live TV. Hashtags like #LetHerSpeak, #MediaBias, and #CarolineWasRight began trending within the hour. Videos of the segment were reshared millions of times, and right-wing media outlets seized the moment, framing it as yet another example of how anti-Trump bias dominates the airwaves. One popular post read, "They couldn't handle the truth, so they silenced her." Karoline Leavitt just exposed the media in real time. But not everyone saw it that way. Critics from the left, and even some in mainstream circles, pushed back. They argued that Leavitt wasn't there to have a dialogue. Instead, they claimed she came with one goal: to hijack the interview and create a viral moment that would play well with Trump's base. She wasn't answering questions, one journalist tweeted. She was just attacking the host. That's not an interview. That's a performance. Others accused her of using media bias as a shield to avoid tough questions about Trump's legal troubles and campaign policies. ABC News also issued a short but pointed statement, defending its decision to cut the segment short. "We expect our guests to engage in respectful dialogue," the statement read. This segment was unfortunately derailed beyond editorial control. But the Trump campaign saw things differently and used the incident to their advantage. Just hours after the show, Leavitt released a bold statement, doubling down on her media critique. "This is exactly what we've been saying," she wrote. "The corporate media doesn't want Americans to hear the truth. They want to silence us, the phallus. Lout was instant, and the political war of narratives had officially begun. For those who don't know her, Karoline Leavitt might seem like just another political spokesperson. But she's far from ordinary. At only 27 years old, she's quickly become one of the most talked about and controversial voices in the Republican Party. Leavitt first entered the national spotlight during Donald Trump's first term, when she served as Assistant Press Secretary at the White House, a position that put her directly in the media's crosshairs. From the very beginning, she was known for her aggressive communication style, her fierce defense of Trump, and her refusal to back down in the face of criticism. She wasn't afraid to go toe-to-toe with seasoned journalists, liberal commentators, or even members of her own party if they didn't toe the MAGA line. But her ambition didn't stop at being a voice behind the scenes. In 2022, Leavitt ran for Congress in New Hampshire, making headlines as one of the youngest candidates in the race. Though she didn't win, her campaign turned heads across the country. It wasn't just her age that got attention, it was her messaging. She spoke directly to the base, unapologetically championing Trump's America First agenda, challenging woke culture, and slamming what she called the liberal media machine. So when Trump's 2024 campaign chose her as a national spokesperson, no one was surprised. Her appointment was a calculated move, a way to appeal to young, right-leaning voters who are tired of polished, scripted politicians. Leavitt represents a new generation of Republicans, media-savvy, social media fluent, unapologetically combative, and completely aligned with Trump's brand of politics. That's why the clash on Good Morning America wasn't just another spicy TV moment. It was symbolic. It wasn't just Leavitt versus Stephanopoulos. It was the new Republican wave versus the old media establishment. She didn't just challenge questions, she challenged the right of the mainstream media to ask them in the first place. And in today's viral age, where political currency is built on moments that spark outrage and loyalty, this was a goldmine. Leavitt didn't just survive the controversy, she became the headline. And for someone in her role, that's exactly the kind of attention that fuels momentum. As the dust begins to settle, one thing is crystal clear. This moment is bigger than just one interview. And it definitely won't be the last time Karoline Leavitt makes headlines. In fact, if anything, the entire ordeal may have strengthened her position. The Trump campaign knows how to capitalize on conflict, and this is no exception. Already, insiders say the footage of Leavitt's clash with George Stephanopoulos is being repurposed for campaign fundraising emails, targeted social media ads, and even talking points for upcoming Trump rallies. The narrative? Clear and consistent.